Locals are angry, really angry. And people that live around here, and especially up the hill there, they say they can smell it. It doesn't give you any confidence in the people who are supposed to be looking after us. They just don't seem to care. I think, yeah, these big businesses just, they've got no heart, really. No heart.
Of toxic waste in Southland.
Who was responsible for removing toxic dross from a Mataura paper mill?
Toxic sludge end up stored in a paper mill in a town that didn't ask for it?
The suspicion initially was that this would be from the smelter, and it turned out to be the case.
In 2014, a friend of mine said to us there's something going into the mill, and we think it's coming from T.Y. Point. Can you find out what it is or do something? Because I used to be on the community board and people know that I don't shut up. I just don't like things that aren't right, and people know that I speak out, so they come to me. Well, the Mataura Mill is the last place that anybody would have ever thought of putting it. Here, so close to the river. Words fail me, really, where their brains were, these people.
Community concerns are being raised about trucks depositing toxic waste material into the paper mill at night. By the time our regulatory staff started to get involved, they had 10,000 one-tonne bags stored in Mataura. Mataura, up until that point in time, had no connection with the smelter and rightfully felt aggrieved that they were being used as a dumping ground.
People have got to live in this town, and we don't know what they said behind closed doors, but they have accepted what we've said and ignored it.
Who has got the responsibility? There's bloody T-White out the back there, who's produced this stuff in the first place. Why the hell are they not stepping up?
On-sold the product to a company called Taha Industries, and Taha Industries were reprocessing the material into a subsequent fertiliser substance, and it was Taha Industries that actually sought to store the material in the paper mill.
And so do you think the smelter had a responsibility to monitor where that was going?
Well, clearly that's a matter for New Zealand aluminium smelters and whatever contract that they have. They're the owner of the product, so that's sit with New Zealand aluminium smelters, that responsibility for understanding what the product is and where it's going and possibly its final use.
To me, I've lost all trust in people now, and that's hard to say, but it's basically what it's come down to. That's just straight aluminium dross. My tests come back high in aluminium, fluoride, nickel, arsenic. There's about 5 or 6 heavy metals there that it was very high in. I felt sick that I was dealing with it, my staff were dealing with it, my family and my stock. And why would they give out a product that's going to harm? We just don't do that down here in Southland. I'd been to a Golden Oldies rugby meeting and I'd met the manager of Taha. They wanted to use it as a trial product on the lanes when we were building the wind farm road. Went through all the health and safety processes to get into TY. Asked Taha, has Environment Southland been informed and know what's going on? And they said, yeah, it's all been ticked off by them, not an issue. So we fired ahead and put it on this lane up here and a bit down there and another 40 or 50 tonne out on a lane out the back. And that's the house and it's above the house. We've still got quite a bit of it in here. This is the road to the wind farm. Then 12 months later, they found some in the quarry at Edendale. 2 of the workers out there got sick, ended up in hospital, and that's when Environment Southland, WorkSafe got involved, and really the shit hit the fan. With the Edendale site, they had to pick it up and remove it, and I believe they'd do the same with my farm. But they didn't. The judge said they didn't have to. If I wanted them to remove it, I had to take them to court. So I left the courtroom and went round to Environment Southland officers and asked if they're going to appeal it. And I was told, we don't appeal environment court cases.
It was the last election. I was a Clutha Southland candidate. Within minutes of me being announced as a candidate, Graham Laidlaw came and saw me, so I started to dig deeper. I heard your story, then I found out there was storage in other places. You know, we've got it right by in a flood zone in Invercargill, and the story is bleak. Seriously, this is an environmental issue. It's right by a river, it's right on your land, it's leaching. You should have had an extraordinary amount of support from Environment Southland, and you had nothing. You got just hammered.
No, you ring them and ask for help, and they just, not my problem, it's yours. Sort it.
Yeah.
I have no doubt that Graham is a victim to some degree for taking material. Probably further due diligence would have been warranted in the circumstance.
NZAS is a sponsor of Environment Southland, so they're not going to bite the hand that feeds them.
Of course they're not.
No, and that's one of the big issues. There's such conflict of interest. Environment Southland should not be sponsored by the smelter, one of the people who are the major polluters in the area.
I mean, do you see any conflict there?
No.
No.
New Zealand aluminium smelters, as we've earlier discussed, hold a number of consents from Environment Southland. Their performance, if you look at our compliance monitoring reports, is very, very good. There is no issue with actually working with New Zealand aluminium smelters or them sponsoring the Environment Awards for Environment Southland. These issues are quite separate and quite disparate.
Be close to 100 grand I've spent on legal fees and testing the dross and lanes and waters. And then Taha went into liquidation and I was left in a hard place. Basically, no one wanted to help me. So then I just had enough. One Saturday morning we got a digger and a couple of trucks and dug up a lane and carted it back to them. There's 51 loads of it. And then I got a ring from the Invercargill City Council telling me that I've dumped that illegally. So they charged me with possible discharge to land and possible discharge to water. So we're back in court.
Tiwai have got a part to play here. Right from day one, they're party to producing it, they're party to employing a group that were going to process it, and then they pulled that contract. So they're into it, up to their eyes.
So we were faced with a company that no longer existed, this product that no one wanted, in a precariously positioned location, particularly with the Mataura River just alongside the building. And we thought, what can we do? At the time, and history will record when you look at the papers, there was elation that there was a deal had been secured.
We were all elated when he first announced that until he told us, well, it's going to take 3 years to get it out. I wouldn't have shaken your hand if I'd known that. It's just taking so long, it's going to take years to get all of it out. And that's just too long. It's the waiting, and living in, with anxiety all the time.
If they were really serious about removing their stuff, they could have had it gone in 3 months. But it's 1 to 2 truckloads a week. All the way through this, we had been told, no, there won't be a flood. We've done flood mapping. You're overreacting about the stuff that's in there. Stop raising this issue. The whole blindness around this has been phenomenal.
Residents in the low-lying Southland town of Mataura are evacuating their homes as river levels peak.
Authorities say toxic ammonia gas is likely to be released when floodwaters saturate around 10,000 tonnes of uvea premix being stored at the mothballed Mataura paper mill.
That's the highest recorded volume of water in that river since recording began. So there was an evacuation of Mataura. The residents were out for a couple of nights. That alone creates quite a bit of stress. Then you've got to worry about, what's it doing to this product? Is it getting wet? Is it starting to emit ammonia? Is it safe to go home?
We all had to get out because of the dross in the mill. They evacuated Wyndham as well. And they wouldn't have got any fumes down there, so obviously they were scared it was going to go into the river and affect them all down there. They were more scared than what they were telling us. So thankfully, we dodged a bullet.
The sense of fear and unease, we all felt it. No one knew just what was going to happen with the uvea premix. I understand completely the community's revision about the tolerance of a 2.5-year wait to get the stuff out of that premises. While the floodwaters were rising, I was in touch with the general manager of NZAS, who was just saying, can we do anything to help? To which my reply was, we need to talk about fast-tracking this removal. We did secure a handshake, a high-level agreement in principle, for what was planned to be a 3 to 4 month removal process, and to have the uvea premix stored at Tiwai Point. About 3 days later, the deal was scuttled by Rio Tinto, who overruled the general manager.
So there's been somewhat of an arm wrestle since then, but to this point, we still haven't got a lot of progress.
There's certainly an environmental issue with its storage. However, it is a pending issue rather than an actual issue because there have been no discharges from the site.
Who are we left to save this town from our toxic, come on, from our toxic, come on, from
If the judge decides, well, Rio Tinto own it, what then? Are they going to do anything about it? I don't think so.
They've got a moral responsibility to clean up a mess that they were party to creating.
So what do we wait for? Another flood, a life lost, a gas leak? What do we wait for before something actually is done? I don't think we should be waiting.
6 years down the track now, and it's still there, and it won't go away. These people over here should be fronting up for it.